Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our live stream this evening. We are discussing the film Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot, and we have five incredible guests this evening. This is an Angel Studios record. We are simulcasting to so many different Angel Instagram accounts. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Let me go around the horn so we can introduce everybody. We've got everybody's Instagram followers watching us. So great to have you. I'm Eric Artell. I'm going to be your semi-host for the evening. Let's start in our upper left corner. We have with us Nika King. She plays the First Lady Donna Martin in Sound of Hope. She's also a comedian and actress and also executive producer of Sound of Hope. Nika, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
We also have with us our host for the evening, if you will. He is a foster and adoption advocate, Laterras Whitfield. You can also catch his podcast, Dear Future Wifey, as well, right, Laterras? Thanks for being with us.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
Here also we have Willie Moore Jr., also an adoption advocate and adoptee. He's got an amazing podcast as well. Willie, thanks for being here.
So glad to be here. Hey, everybody.
Ring that bell, Willie. Ring that bell. Ring the bell. There it is. Also with us going around the horn, Destene Sudduth, who is an influencer and also is I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but about to have a little one as well, Destene. So thank you for being here with us tonight.
I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
And last but not least, she is a comedian. She's a host, and you can follow her at Just Witty. It is Whitney Davis. Thanks for being here with us as well. Whitney. Oh, and when you are muted for somehow. So we'll get your mic unmuted. I don't know if it's muted, so give us a little unmute. But Whitney, thank you for being there.
Happy to be here.
There you are. Yes, we got you. Okay, everybody. We brought us all together here to talk about a few amazing things tonight. And it's all wrapped around this movie, Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot. Now, we know when you're watching, everyone is tuning in, you may not have heard about this movie yet. It is opening on July 4th. There's a special one-night in theaters exclusive pre-screening, if you will, on June 19th. It's only coming up in a couple of days from this live stream. And you can see there to get your tickets. But if you don't know what the story is about, we're going to watch a trailer right now, so enjoy this trailer. You're going to see someone's face in this trailer a lot, namely Nika King's. And then when we come back out of it, we're going to start getting into an amazing discussion about the movie, about some incredible topics that this movie brings up, and we can't wait for this awesome discussion to have with all of you. By the way, while this trailer's playing, in whatever platform you're in, whether you're on the Angel Studios platforms, you're in everybody's, if you're in Laterras' Instagram, if you're watching from Nika's Instagram, if you're watching from Willie's, from Destiny's, from Whitney's, if you're watching any of the Instagrams, stick in some questions, because we're going to try to get to some questions as well during this live stream.
Yes.
Because we want to get to the questions that you are asking. So we're going to watch this trailer. We'll see you in a couple minutes on the other side of the trailer.
It's hard to feel like I'm the only one who sees these things. 70% of the kids in the system are there because of neglect. The other 30% are put through hell. We need your help.
Can you imagine our kids on their own? We can't just look away. The state ain't no family.
Are you sure these people want us?
I know they do.
You can call me Mama. Oh, Lord.
If we can't wrap our arms around the most vulnerable, then what do we have? Noise! And the children can't take the noise anymore.
This is something that we must do.
22 families want to adopt. Whole town wants kids now.
That's about right.
What's happening with Possum Trot could mean a huge change for the system.
We want the ones that nobody else wants.
Who hurt you, baby? I'm not giving up on you. You can't give up on me either. What we gonna do? Everybody's falling apart.
I'm doing the best I can.
The real world hits hard.
I don't want to be here. I can't give him back. We got to work on this together. We your people now. And love never gives up.
Nika, that line at the end of that trailer, like I need a tissue. The love never gives up. I mean, Nika, I love it. Okay,
Yes.
so you've seen the trailer, everybody. We're going to get into some topics about this film, what this film brings up. But we want to let you know, you can get tickets right now. You can get tickets right now. If you go to angel.com/KR. KR, it stands for Kingdom Royale, and your name's going to pop up on the screen. Maria just bought 7 tickets. Maria, I want to give a prize to somebody who buys the most amount of tickets, by the way. But if you, there we go, Willie, I love it. Go to angel.com/KR to get some tickets right now. And when you do that, when you use that link, and we'll talk about this a little more as well a little bit later, but when you use that link, and Laterras, maybe you can give a word right now about that. The KR stands for Kingdom Royale. Proceeds of every ticket that you buy using that link, if you go there right now, angel.com/KR, proceeds when you use that ticket link are going to go to Kingdom Royale. Laterras, why don't you give us a moment and let us know what Kingdom Royale is?
Kingdom Royale is my life's purpose. It's what I believe will be my legacy, and that's to build a luxury foster home for our foster kids. As y'all know, and y'all have seen in the news, especially those in the state of Texas, the foster care system has experienced an overhaul in the state of Texas and has now become privatized. And so it is their hope that that will help get more kids out of foster care, but it's still going to be a big issue with adoption. And so Kingdom Royale is to create a safe space where young kids can be treated as royalty. And so being a foster care advocate, having adopted 2 kids, my nephew and my son Armani when he was 16, when kids are 8 years old, the likelihood of them being adopted is slim to none. And so I adopted my nephew at 9, and I adopted my son Armani when he was 16 years old. His sister had aged out of the system. She had been in foster care with him, and she aged out of the system and literally living what the statistics say, you know, with a lot of kids that age out of foster care, never having a permanency or never having a forever home. She's gone into prostitution, and because her mom had her in that when she was like 12 years old, prostituted her out for drugs and whatnot. And so I said, we have to do something to help our kids. And what was so interesting about it, I got a call about 2 years ago from CPS asking me that I want to adopt her child because she had gotten pregnant, had a child. And they said, hey, Armani has a niece. And I was like, what? And he said, would he like to adopt, his niece? And I was like, he's a senior in high school. Like, he's not ready for that. And then they said, well, what about you? And I was like, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just now creating some stability for Armani. And, but my heart grieved for the fact that I couldn't, and the baby was like 6 months old. And so I believe we all need to step up and do our part.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you, Laterras. So step up, do your part, right? Grab some tickets to this film. Angel.com/KR. It's going to help. Proceeds are going to help Laterras with the foundation, with what he wants to build there. And you're going to be going and joining this movement that will be an amazing movement to bring to the country as the executive producer, one executive producers, Joe Kinnitig has said, a rebrand of this movement. You know, rebranding this movement to make it what it needs to be in the country. Okay, so we saw the trailer, Sound of Hope. Some people are asking in the streams, what movie are we talking about? Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot. We're going to talk about a few topics tonight during this live stream, but I'd love to just go around and what are your overall, a couple of sentences of how you felt about this movie before we dive into some of the topics. And we can go around, we can go to, we can even call it out. We can go Whitney and then Destiny and then Willie. Let us know, and Laterras, a couple of thoughts about the movie before we get going.
So first off, Nika did her thing, y'all. So go see it just because of that. Boom shakalaka. Second off, I love the film because it was faith versus fear over and over again, and it was what makes sense versus what love would do. And I really love the humanity in the film, even when Dinah was telling her husband initially, and he like, huh? You trying to adopt some dogs? Like, and just the whole transition, it was beautiful. So I truly enjoyed it. Impactful film.
Great. Thank you. Destiny.
I'll say it literally when I finished it, I texted my husband and I was like, that was one of the most heartfelt movies that I've seen in a very long time. I mean, it just tugged and tugged on my spirit and I cried the entire time. The husband and wife relationship was just so, like, it resonated so much because sometimes you're not on the same page and you got to pray it through, and then you get on the same page and then the other one's there to lift you up and support, and it was just a beautiful film. It was eye-opening for me.
Thanks, Destiny. Willie.
Man, that's good. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about an amazing film, Sound of Hope. It's about adoption and foster care. Shout out to everybody who's streaming right now. What I thought about the film, I think it hit me real unique and different. I had never seen it in this rawest form. Being an adoptee and knowing the ups and downs that my mother and father had to go through, it really spoke to me really differently. My 5-year-old daughter, she came in and she's like, "Dad, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "They're finally showing some the true essence of what adoption looks like when you're dealing with a person who's been through so much." So, I mean, kudos to the Harmon brothers and the entire Angel Studios for even creating films that are actually tools. Like a lot of things are entertainment. This is like edutainment, and I believe it's going to be a fire that's going to be created throughout the United States, and people are going to get involved with adoption and foster care because it's a lot of children out there. So I'm excited about this tool that we have for the body of Christ and abroad.
Thanks, Willie. Laterras, I'm reminded of when we first spoke, and Willie reminded me of this. I believe one of the things that you said to me was, you said something along the lines of, finally a film that showed what it's like.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to speak to that.
Yeah. Man, I adopted 2 young kings from the foster care system, and it's not pretty. And I'm glad that Angel Studios didn't want to just show what was pretty and inspire people for something that's unrealistic. There is a journey. There is a struggle. The kids will act out. The kids will have a tendency to respond in anger and hurt and brokenness. And a lot of kids in the foster care system struggle with abandonment issues. So I remember talking to one of the therapists about, why does my son respond like this? They said, because you're giving him a place of normalcy, and he wants to make you out to be a lie. He wants to throw tantrums so that you'll give up on him. And I remember when he was first, my son's been very open about this, but he struggles with bipolar disorder and suicide ideation. And we've been, very open about that. We speak about that openly, he and I together. But the first time he had to be put in a behavioral health hospital, I called him, and the next day, and we were talking, I said, "Man, I can't wait till you get some help for a couple of days, and and I'm gonna pick you up. You'll come back home." He said, "I can come back home?" And I said, "Armani, you my son." He said, "Well, I'm so used to when I'm in placements." He's been through 5 different placements when he was in foster care. He said the minute that he got placed in, and when he went to a behavioral health hospital, when he did something wrong, when he got out, they'd be like, "Hey, I'm about to take you to a new family." So he was so used to, when he acted out, that he'll be placing a new family. And so I said, son, I love you. And I broke down crying. I began to speak in tongues and speak in my heavenly language. And I said, God, I come against every demonic attack that has been plaguing my son's mind, because he's been inundated with the ideology that his life has no purpose, his life has no value. And he still struggles with that to this very day. And so this film got it right. This film got it right. And what I love about it is it's not just a faith-based film. And a lot of times people see faith-based films and they feel like it pales in comparison to the quality of secular films. This film is A1. The production quality, the performances from the actors, the set design, the wardrobe, the music score, everything about this film made me so proud to be a Christian. It made me proud to be Black, and it made me proud to be a foster parent, and it made me proud to be an adoptive parent. And it reignited my fire for Kingdom Royale, because I said, listen, my family called me Terry, and so one of the lead actors in the film, her name is one of the supporting cast. Her name is Terry, and so I was like, God, you're speaking to me. But not only that, the film, the true life story of the film takes place just a couple of hours outside of Dallas in Possum Trot, where I live. And so I was like, you know what? I don't need any more signs. I need to get behind this film and do whatever I need to do to make the mission of this film reverberate all across the United States.
Amen.
Yes.
Nika,
That deserved a bell. That deserved a bell.
Nika, just being a part of the film, Nika, what are your thoughts when everyone's sharing these feelings?
Man, I'm just so full right now. You know, I got this script in my hand, and you know, a lot of things happened between me reading it and me actually filming it. You know, there's been a strike, there's been, you know, recast and all kind of crazy things happening. And you know, we're always, when you're in it, you're really trying to make sure it goes to execution, right? Because a lot of independent films, they can get to the end and not go all the way through to distribution and to end up in the theater. And so we would be praying, me, Joe, Josh, Rebecca, we would say, hey, we're going to do our part, and then we're going to let the Most High do his part. And we know that this is a kingdom film, and not just because it's faith-based, but God has his hand all over this film. And not just because, you know, we're actors, we're directors, we're writers, producers, and we want to have a successful project. No, we want people to realize that there are a lot of kids out there that are struggling to find homes, to find love, to find hope. And so Sound of Hope, like I love when they retitled the film, because I feel like that is so, it's so on point. You know, we need hope, and what is Sound of Hope is this story. It's going to move people, as you've already heard, and I just can't wait. I can't wait for Juneteenth, and I can't wait for July 4th.
Well, let's talk about Juneteenth for a second. By the way, get tickets. You can get tickets right now. Angel.com/KR stands for Kingdom Royale. Michael in New York. We got some fans in Missouri, some more in New York, some in California who bought tickets. Go grab them right now. Go grab those tickets, and the proceeds are going to a wonderful foundation, Kingdom Royale. Let's talk about Juneteenth. And Laterras, maybe you can lead this conversation. You know, Angel Studios scheduled this special one-night nationwide release, sort of pre-release, before it opens July 4th. Scheduled it for June 19th, which is coming up. You may be watching this after June 19th, so you missed the boat. Now, you go get tickets for July 4th if you're watching this after June. But for everyone who's watching right now, you still have time to grab some tickets for June 19th because the film has a special connection with what Juneteenth represents. And Laterras, I'd love for you to lead whatever discussion might be about the connection between what this film represents and the messages of this film and Juneteenth.
Well, the interesting thing about it is that the month of May is Adoption Awareness Month. Foster Care Awareness Month. And so for us to be doing this the next month makes my heart smile. Juneteenth, a lot of people are not aware of it because it's a Southern thing, but it was when slaves in the South found out that they were free, and they had been free years prior, but they just got the message late and was like, oh, now we're free. And so what I believe that what's so beautiful about the connection is that one of the things I thought about, and it hit me like a ton of bricks the other day, that kids in the foster care system, I say, imagine yourself serving a quote unquote sentence for a crime that you didn't commit. And that's how I liken kids that are in foster care. They didn't do anything wrong. Their parents did something wrong, and now they find themselves in an unknown place, in an unknown land. And they're like, well, now what? They don't know when they're getting visiting rights. They don't know when they'll get a chance to see their parents again, even though the system is always pushing for reunification. What that means is that once a child is removed, they'll put their parents on a plan to say, hey, take parenting classes, here's treatment classes if you're on drugs or whatnot. Let's give you some resources. If we remove the kid because of the habitat, the parent couldn't take care of the kid and they're in unsanitary environments, they'll try to provide resources, but the kid doesn't know anything about that. The kid is like, wow, I'm with strangers. How do I handle this? And that's a lot of trauma that's caused. And so what I love about this is that we hear so much, especially in 2020, we heard so much about Black Lives Matter. But to be honest with you, while I was going through my foster care classes, our white counterparts, shout out to my white brothers and sisters, but they're the ones that's leading the charge in adopting our kids. And I said, if Black lives truly matter, we got to step up and start adopting our own kids. And like I said, we just got to do a better job. And even if you can't adopt, you can foster. If you can't foster, you can do respite care. And respite care is when you are, I'll just say, like a glorified babysitter. You give the foster parents or adoptive parents a little reprieve if they want to spend some time and go out on a date night or even want to go on a vacation, that you can become a licensed respite provider where you can provide a reprieve for that adoptive parent or foster parent so that they can get a break, but you can be impacting that kid for those 3 days or 2 days or even a few hours. You can create impact in that kid's life, letting them know that you care about them, showing them words of affirmation and speaking into their lives or whatever. So you can always do something. And even at best, you can purchase a ticket at angel.com/KR, and that small ticket, because a ticket don't cost that much. I mean, we be honest with each other. I mean, we over here negotiating over $20. So go get you a ticket, support a film, and it's going to impact your life. And one thing that you haven't even thought about is that your kids in school are sitting around kids that are foster kids. And so you can bring awareness to your kids on how to navigate those conversations or befriend that classmate that seems isolated in class, not talking to anybody. And you can, when your kid gets that wrinkle in their brain to see, hold on, that I heard somebody say something about foster. He was a foster kid or something. I don't know what that is. Now you're educating your kid on how to be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ to be able to cause impact in that kid's life. So this film will touch your life 360 degrees.
Wow.
Thank you. Anybody have anything else to add to that?
The truth is, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about an awesome film. And it's all about adoption. It's all about foster care. When I think about this film, and I realize right now that there are over 123,000 children who are available for adoption right now. And there's so many parents out there right now who are thinking, well, I'm having so many problems with having a child, or, maybe you're trying some alternate ways to have children. And the truth is, this may be a great opportunity for you to see a bird's eye view of the truth of what it looks like to adopt or foster a child. And then you'll realize that maybe God is pricking my heart to do something uniquely different than what I've seen in my family. I was adopted by two ex-sharecroppers, one from Mississippi, the other one from Louisiana. Today, my dad's 92 years young. My mom is 82 years young. They're still amongst the living. They adopted me when I was 3 months old. I didn't find out I was adopted until I was 7 years old. And the children were extremely cruel. They were making songs talking about, I don't mess with adopted kids. And I was 7 years old, so I just sung with them. And, when I found out I was adopted, the bigger thing was that I asked my parents was like, hey, am I a dog? Because that was the only thing that I ever seen in mainstream media to be adopted. And so for this film to be in mainstream media, to give children who are just like me an opportunity to say that it's more than just a dog that can be adopted and you can have a beautiful life. We're not leftovers. We're not the kids that you just kick around and say, hey, man, maybe the next time, we'll do better. We're the chosen children. And if you watch right now, you're in the foster care system, or if you're a parent who hasn't even told your children that they're adopted right now, here's the thing: we want to make this a badge of honor because we are chosen children. And because we've been chosen by Jesus Christ, we also get the opportunity to be chosen right here on earth. And you get a chance to literally be the hands and feet of God. And so I'm so thankful for this tool. I keep on saying it over and over again that this film is such a tool. Of course, you're going to be entertained. Of course, it's a great story. Of course, I cried like a 5-year-old baby because it was like watching my life. But I just want to let you know that with every tool, we need people out there to use these tools. And that's why it's so important that you get a ticket today and watch these different stories, and have an opportunity to see what it's like to be a child who looks in the mirror and may not have ever seen his parents before, to be able to see a child who smiles through the pain. And there may be an opportunity for you to love on them if you get a different trajectory of what these children see. And so I thank God for this film. I want everybody to go purchase a ticket right now. It is so important that you do, so you can get an opportunity to understand, what we go through. Like, I wear this big hat because my dad, who's 92, whenever he went out, he said, "Boy, put your crown on." You hear me? And so when he told me to put my crown on, I've been wearing this hat. And I represent him. That's why there's a junior on the end of my name, because he blessed me with his last name. He was so honorable to say that I will give you my last name. And to be honest, I'm so grateful for Willie Moore Sr. And if I ever become half the man that he is, I'm going to be one heck of a man.
Wow. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Willie.
Y'all, I can't take it. I can't take it.
I know. Don't make me cry. I don't have on my waterproof mascara, okay?
Listen, we're going to get into some...
And I'm such
we'll
an
get into some
empath.
more.
I'm a true, ring the bell, please, and break up the tension, because I'm an empath, and so I have to, I just have to be, wow, I thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for just being an advocate and just keep going. That's the biggest thing. And we're reminded we're all adopted into the kingdom. We're all when you really look at it. And so I know at some point, I don't have kids, but I know if I don't have them biologically, I know for sure after this film I am going to adopt. I just don't know when, because I'm always moving, but I know God is going to make it so where I have the stability where I can come in and change a kid's life, because that's on my heart. It truly is.
Well, I don't want to induce any more tears, but we are going to watch another trailer. So we're going to watch another trailer. So if you're just joining us in these live streams. We are live streaming everybody here. We've got fans from everybody here in the various live streams because we're simulcasting to everyone's Instagram right now. And you might be watching on the replay. You might have just scrolled up on Instagram and found this. So thank you for being here with us. We're talking about The Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot. It is an amazing story. We're going to watch a trailer, then we're going to come back and get into some discussion about relationships, which we all know something about. So let's go ahead and watch this trailer, and then we'll come back after the trailer.
Are you sure these people want us?
I know they do. You can call me Mama. Oh, Lord.
If we can't wrap our arms around the most vulnerable, then what do we have? Noise! And the children can't take the noise anymore.
Wow. So you can get those tickets at angel.com/KR. The link is right up there on your screen. And let's not forget, if you use that link, angel.com/KR, the KR stands for Kingdom Royale. Laterras Whitfield, who is here, has a wonderful foundation that is helping foster children in the Dallas, Texas area. So thank you for purchasing tickets. We got people purchasing tickets in Texas and California. We see you. Your name's going to pop up on the screen. So, hey, if you want to shout out, go grab your tickets right now. You can grab your tickets. You can go see it Juneteenth on Wednesday. We talked a little bit about that and about how this film relates to that issue. But I want to get into a little discussion about relationships and love. I love what you had brought up, Whitney, I believe. You talked about how this is this issue of what makes sense versus doing something out of love, right? And I'd love for you to
Absolutely.
lean into that a little bit, and we can talk about Nika. You played the first lady, Donna Martin, and you were the actress who got to express the issues that are brought up in relationships between a couple, between a husband and wife in this topic. And those are some serious, some heavy things to discuss. So Whitney, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that, and anyone else who wants to chime in when talking about this.
Absolutely. You know what I really loved about the film is it kind of challenges the capacity that we have of love inside of us, right? We see a couple, and even the journey of Donna and how she was inspired by God to adopt was powerful because it dealt with a love connection, you know. And I think in our regular lives, we don't think about, you know, adoption. We don't think about kids who are in this moment suffering. And it would make sense. It's an equal sign that's simple. But in our lives, we can make it complex, or timing, XYZ, you know. And I love the idea of kind of self-examining capacity of love, you know. And so that was kind of my thoughts. Because even like with Laterras, when he was talking, I was thinking like, you know, to actually adopt is huge, you know. In Willie's story, and just the change that happens just with acting purely out of love and no other logic, you know, because we all learning, we all processing XYZ. And so I love that this film literally went through the whole process. They didn't exclude the ugly, the beautiful, with each character. And I think it's going to be really impactful. So that's kind of my take.
Thank you, Whitney. Laterras and Nika, Destene, any thoughts on this about with the relationships and what it does to the relationships?
I definitely want Destene to chime in, because as she's been going through her journey of childbirth, me, her, and her husband had a conversation. If she didn't get pregnant on this last egg, that they were going to be adopting. But they were so unified in that decision as a kingdom couple. So Destene, speak on that if you would, please.
Yeah, I think that's what really impacted me the most with this, because, you know, sometimes you just kind of think, well, I have this idea and I'll pitch it to him. Like, I'll bring up the adoption. Maybe that can be something we can explore. And, you know, because of the lack of knowledge and the lack of just seeing it and it being a normal thing that couples do, he wasn't on board with it, you know, honestly. And before we proceeded to try again for the IVF, it was something that we really brought to God, and we were like, man, is this something that we're gonna do, or are we just not gonna have children? Or like, what is that journey gonna look like for us? So I just really love how the film was very realistic, and it really brought me back to that time where, you know, there's just sometimes you're not going to agree. And it's such a major decision. It really is for a married couple. And it was very impactful. I'll just say that. Like, I think that's where the tears start flowing, because I'm just like, man, I literally went through this. And then to see what children go through, you know, prior to being pulled out of their homes, it was just, you know, not to give the movie away, but it was just so eye-opening. You know, I think that it just really opened my eyes to just what really goes on behind the scenes and what adoption really looks like, and that these kids really do need placement. And it's just, it always tugs on my spirit that there's just, you know, people are so blessed with this opportunity to just do it easily, and you know, we paid thousands of dollars for this to happen, you know. So we always think about, man, here y'all are just blessed to just have these children and just to mistreat them. And that is just like, it's just so mind-boggling for us, and it's something we had to really pray about, because you see it every day. These children are just mistreated, and they didn't ask to be here. So
that's so good.
Wow.
Thank you, Destiny. Yeah, I just want to read. I want to read a comment. This is on Dear Future Wifey's Instagram simulcast on yours, Laterras. Seven Goddess Dynasty says, "How can prospective adoptive parents overcome the fear of being unprepared to support children with trauma triggers and ensure that they can provide necessary care and healing environment?" I think that goes to Destiny, what you were talking about, you have this idea and your husband saying, I don't know if I'm on board with that. And Nika, you played in the movie. You played that moment when you, as Donna Martin, came to the husband, the Reverend Martin. He's like, I don't know if I'm on board with that. And I think some of these issues, like Seven Goddess is bringing up, about how can you be prepared, and any advice on that sort of thing?
Well, I'll say the training. I mean, they'll give you training, but a lot of stuff you just got to do it afraid, and you'll learn. It's like with your own kids. You're never gonna know if your kid right now. God forbid, but if you have a 14-year-old kid that decides to start using drugs, you're going to be like, oh my God, how do I navigate that space? I have some nieces and nephews that have made some crazy decisions. And my siblings are navigating those spaces. They're not adopted kids, but they're dealing with some serious stuff. And so at the end of the day, it's called grace. As God have to deal with some of my crazy decisions, God has given me grace to navigate those spaces with me and cultivate a place of love. The Bible says love covers a multitude of sins. And so my suggestion is just continue to give love. And I'll be honest with you, it's not easy. But the beautiful thing about it is I'll always recalibrate and say, the old saying that we used to have on those little rubber bracelets, what would Jesus do? And that's what I really do. I go, okay, my son is getting on my last nerves, but that's my son. And I'll go, all right, let's talk it out. Let's work through it. And then I get so hopeful when I hear about all the people. Nelson Mandela was adopted. When you start listening when you start researching people who have been adopted, of course, Jesus Christ was adopted. When you hear about people who have been adopted and what they've materialized their life to become, Willie Moore Jr. was adopted. It's amazing people. And so I say, wow, I would love to take part in that. I would love to take part in truly being who God called me to be and being able to impact a life where they felt like no one cared about them. My son deals with that daily. Nobody cares about me. My life would be better without me. He said the world would be better without me. And the reality is that's because of what his experience was. Think about being uprooted from your home at the age of 8. You know what I'm saying? 8. Those are those formative years where you're learning who you are, seeing what love is. And God forbid when people get uprooted when they're babies and find themselves in dumpsters or whatnot, you can watch these stories over and over again and cry and be like, oh my God, how could she do that? Well, why would a mother do that? Why, blah, 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 blah. And then I'll ask you, and what are you doing to help that? You know what I'm saying? Because we can complain a lot about people doing stuff wrong, but what are you doing to help? Are you spending when they're having toy drives for kids? Are you helping kids that are in foster care? I'm not saying everybody has to adopt a kid or foster a kid, but you can buy a ticket to support a film that's talking about it. You know what I'm saying? You can always do something, and there's nothing too small to do. And so the beautiful thing about this film, when it talks about marriage, and when I look at that, of course, me being the host of Dear Future Wifey podcast, where we talk everything about love and marriage, I looked at this couple who wasn't on the same page, but had to get on the same page, as Destiny talked about. It's not an easy decision, but it's the most rewarding decision you'll ever make. And let me tell you why. It's because once you make a decision to do something as sacrificial as adopting somebody else's seed and giving a kid a sense of belongingness, giving a kid a forever home, that kid is impacted in ways from a spiritual standpoint that you'll never be able to fully understand. And what's so beautiful about it is that you have changed the trajectory of that kid's life by choice. And that's why I love when Willie keeps saying that. It's like they're the kids by choice. You chose them. And if you ever want to have your heart just broken open right now. If you go to tear.org, that's a website for Texas that has kids' faces on a website where you can go and literally look and pick what child you want to adopt. You can go look at that and you'll see a kid been in foster care for 6 years, a kid 15 years old, been in foster care since they were 7, a kid 16 years old, about to age out in 2 years, been in foster care for 8 years. And you'll start looking at that and then take yourself in that mindset and say, how would I feel if I was that kid and no one came for me? No one came for me. What would that do to that kid's mind when he now has to assimilate in the world and now become a part of society and looking at everybody with a chip on his shoulder like, no, nobody cares. Y'all don't care about me. And when they hear you talk about stuff that don't mean anything, no shame on Bad Boys 4. I'm gonna go see that movie. It's amazing. But when you hear all the stuff hyped about movies like that, and then they hear you like, we have to do a call to action for a film like this that's impacting their life. Like Willie had a whole transformative moment when he watched that movie because he said, that was me. That was me. And that kid saying, this is me. And no one cared. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry. I'm passionate about it because I say it's unfortunate that other movies, that's not going to change your life at all. It's not going to change your life. You can go see Bad Boys 4. You see all these movies like, that's a great movie. That was great. It's not going to change your life. It's not going to impact your life. It's not a call to action for it. But then movies that really transform the way you think, transform society, impacts the world, just like that small church in Possum Trot. Think about it. That small church in Possum Trot, Texas. The small church adopted 77 kids through 22 families, but we have mega churches and churches on every corner. What are we doing? That's the reality. What are we doing? How are we impacting the culture? How are we impacting the nation? How are we impacting? And it's biblical where the Bible says to take care of the orphans, but we ain't doing that. And I'm gonna rest my case.
Hey, Laterras,
and I love what you said.
Who you talked about? Go ahead. Yep, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, I love what you said about it's not like you can make a change in other ways. You don't just have to adopt. Just something as simple as purchasing a ticket or, figuring out ways where you can, because there's been so many, like for so many years, I've kind of had like this little chip on my shoulder with, just being honest with people that mistreat kids. And then you want to complain about the system, because I was one of them. I'm like, the system needs to do something about it. Somebody need to rescue this and save this child. And but then it's like now, after viewing this film and then this conversation, it's like, but what am I doing? It's almost just as bad. It's like I'm not doing anything to aid or assist or anything like that. It's like you just see it, you read about it, you see it on the news, you complain, and then you go about your day. So
that's so real. Nakia, I want to tell you, you did so well as Donna in the film. I don't know if I'm telling too much, but you did so well in the film. Like what I seen in you was like seeing my mother, because my mom, she couldn't have children. I mean, I hate to even think about it, but my mom and dad, whatever they was doing to try to have kids, it wasn't working. Hallelujah, it just wasn't working. And so she actually had a doctor who told her about the option of adoption, because I call him my PR firm, right? And my dad was just like every other father who, wants to have a child naturally. Like, if we're going to have a child, we need to do it this way. And my mom was very persistent. And because she was persistent, she got him to go to the Children's Home Society. And the moment that he walked in, that's when the Spirit of the Lord touched him. And he seen this little guy in the middle bed. And he says, who's the little guy in the middle bed? And that little guy was me. And my dad didn't know all the things that he had to go through for the next few months, checking the house, learning what he needed to learn. He was like, hey, let's just take this boy on home today. This is my boy right here. And he knew exactly who I was when he seen me. And so to those of you who are watching right now, there are over 380,000 churches across the country, according to a Google search, right? 380,000 churches right now. If each church could just adopt 2 children or help foster 2 children, 3 children, just in your little county, whatever that may be, this is an opportunity to change this epidemic that we have with children who are, you see on the screen right now, they're just sitting around waiting for a beautiful opportunity. Like, I cannot imagine what my life would be if Willie J and Flora Moore, 2 ex-sharecroppers who both worked as housekeepers, They didn't have a whole lot of money. They worked as housekeepers. Many people right now, you thinking adoption, this could be millions of dollars, 20,000, 30,000. The truth is, when it comes to, you know, your foster care and your local adoptions in your city, like a lot of times you don't have to spend that much money. And there are opportunities with Bethany Christian Services and other amazing people like, you know, my foundation. We help people with funds to make sure that they have the funds they need to adopt children. And so that's why it's important now that you go pick up a ticket to this film. And listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. They give me a whole lot to talk about, a whole lot of different films. Like they paid me to do the Bad Boys movie. They paid me to do this other movie. I didn't really care what they was doing with this movie. I was like, give me a nickel. Because it's such a great tool for people to understand that we've been fighting in this fight for years. I've been doing this work for over 20 years. And I shake the hands of young men who have been in 5 to 7 different foster care homes where people were treating them maliciously. And they don't have life in their hands no more. And when I leave, they say, make sure that they know about us. Hey, Willie Moore, man, we appreciate you popping it off today, man. You made us feel comfortable. Make sure you tell them about us. And so to see this Angel Studio put up the funds after they traditionally speak to another crowd, a CCM crowd, but for them to highlight African-American people, I don't care who behind it. Man, I'm asking y'all to get involved. I'm not saying I'm the best child in the world, but my parents ain't never had to work another day in their life because of this decision they made 3 months after I was born. Because it was my duty to make sure that they didn't make a mistake when they decided to say yes to adoption. Maybe you'll have that same opportunity. When you see this film and you just see actors, please remember that it's a person on the other side of this camera telling you the truth, that I was those children, and I was blessed because a parent stepped up to the plate.
And also, you know, these are real people, you know. This is not just characters of Josh's figment of his imagination. You know, First Lady Donna Martin is a real woman. Bishop W.C. is a real man. And, you know, when I read the script and I eventually got the part, it was very important to me to make sure that, you know, I didn't spend a lot of time with First Lady. We went to lunch. We had a couple phone conversations. I saw a couple videos of her and her sister praying and singing and walking. And so I had to do a lot of work in a little bit of time to capture her essence, because I'm 5'10", she's like 5'6". You know, we don't look alike, but, you know, I had to let go all of that. And I had to say, okay, I have to capture her essence and who she is, and the God that she serves, and the heart that she has for people. And so, you know, when you're watching this film, just know that, you know, these people still to this day are going through the trials and tribulations of dealing with kids who have been in foster care, kids who have had traumatic experiences, and they fight for these kids, and now they have grandkids. And so, you know, I'm just like, I'm overjoyed really with you guys talking about the film and how it impacted you. But to me, it was very important that First Lady Donna Martin liked the film. And once I got her blessing, I was like, okay, I'm good. It was very important for me to hear how she felt about it. And when we talked after she saw it, she was absolutely, you know, impressed and loved it. So I'm just asking you guys that when you see this film, just understand these are real people that went through real things.
Well, speaking of going to see the film, remember the ticket link is angel.com/KR. Stands for Kingdom Royale. It's supporting it. When you're getting a ticket to that, not only are you going to see the film, not only are you going to support the movement that the film is highlighting, but when you buy tickets with that link, /KR, angel.com/KR, you're supporting also what Laterras is building, Kingdom Royale, there in the Dallas, Texas area. So go get tickets. And I just want to highlight a few people who've gotten tickets so far. We've got Delilah bought some tickets. Lynn bought some tickets. Stephanie in Las Vegas just bought 20 tickets to go see that film. Right. A block of 20 tickets.
Yes.
I mean, come on, Stephanie. Come on, Stephanie.
Stephanie, come through.
Come through, Stephanie.
But who can be... Who can beat Stephanie's record? That's the question. Who can beat Stephanie's record? But listen, just bring your community, right? Bring your HOA, bring your church, bring your and oh my goodness, Willie, when you talked about 300 and some odd thousand churches in the nation, and you think about if they just as a community, as a church, just adopt one child. And we had a great discussion with Joe Koenig, one of the other executive producers of this film, when he was talking about you don't have to adopt a child, you don't have to foster a child. And Laterras, you were talking about this. To be a good Christian, you don't have to do X, Y, or Z. You can just help other people who are doing that. So if you think of a community, a church, just let a family adopt one child, and everyone else support that family.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of a sudden, the foster care system is empty. Everyone's been adopted.
And Willie, you really put it into perspective. You gave numbers, because sometimes it seems so unimaginable, right? 400,000 kids, 380,000 churches. It's like, but once you start really doing the math, it's like, it's not a lot of kids when you look at how many churches are. And we know in the Black community, there's a church every other corner, in our neighborhood. So it's important that we also look at it that way as well. Like adopting 2 or 3 kids and then rallying around that family to give them the support they need, because it is difficult. I mean, from the movie, it's not easy, but if you have that support and you have, your community behind you, anything is possible. So I just love that you put that in perspective.
And I'm gonna tell you the interesting thing about a lot of people keep commenting about the money situation. When you adopt a kid that's in the, I don't know what it is in every state, but in Texas, you get subsidies. So you'll get some little money to help, offset some bills or whatnot while you're fostering or adopting. And so they'll help you if you adopt during National Day of Adoption, which is it's the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Then here in the state of Texas, it's free. All your attorney fees are waived. I adopted 2 kids during that same period. And so they waive your attorney fees. It's all taken care of. And so there's resource. You'll be amazed by the minute you take one step, God is going to take 20. And God will give you so much favor the minute that you decide to put something greater than you. And I'm telling you, you got to think, I was just fresh off of a divorce the month before and then decided to start fostering the next month. And I was grateful for the foster care agency that vetted me, because they was like, and I was I was fostering my nephew, but they tried to make sure that you're in the great mindset from a healthy perspective to be like, you ain't gonna be trauma bonding with this kid, where are you at in this? And so they have you go through a bunch of questions, and it should be very intrusive. And so they'll ask you a ton of questions, do home visits or whatnot. One of the things that I've always been open to is when people DM me who have an interest in foster care, I take out time, I'll talk to you, I'll call you through Instagram audio, talk to you, answer any questions that you may have to help you facilitate that thing. Because like we all know, a lot of people just don't know what it is. Like Destene said, like adopt the whole kid. Like, how does that work? I didn't know what I was getting into, and I would never change that for the world. I'll do it again.
And Laterras, there's a lot of people like us. You pick up an iPhone right now. Steve Jobs, he was adopted. My dear brother Anthony Hamilton, he was adopted. It's just so many of us. But it's people like Laterras who I just thank God for. I met him during my film, and and Laterras will tell you, like when he texted me, he was like, "Hey, you want to do this, this, and this?" I was like, "I'm in." He was like, "Did you watch the trailer?" I was like, "I already know about these people. Don't worry about nothing. Like, if it's about the children, let's do it." So I enjoy the people who are actually doing the work. And that's why it's important. If you've never seen a beautiful story of redemption, love, and just giving a child a chance, that's why it's so important that you get a ticket today. It's such a tool. Shout out to Bethany Services and other people, the DFACS community, who's doing a really good job of making sure that you get children at home. I've worked with all of you guys, but I just want to tell everybody, every church, call your pastor. Here's the thing. I want to tell you about Laterras, because sometimes, with us, when you see angel.com, all the proceeds going to Laterras, let me tell you something. Laterras is probably the most integral person that I've ever met when it comes to finances, doing what he says he's going to do. He is a visionary that you can follow and trust and believe. He gonna show you the receipts, and I want you to support his efforts so he don't spend all his money, because that's the type of person he is, the way he thinks. He's like, "Oh, you're not gonna give it? your future wife will have a half a couch before them kids go out. You hear me? So please make sure you get a ticket. If you like the Dear Future Wifey podcast, people gonna be sitting on the floor if you don't get his money. So make sure what this is. If you say he's gonna do it, he is going to do it.
Ring that bell. Ring that bell. Listen, I want to read Whitney. Whitney, there's a viewer on your Instagram. And this goes, I love how this kind of wraps it up a little bit as well, because unfortunately our time is just about running up, you guys. But Solo Crimper is watching on Instagram, on Whitney's Instagram, says 123,000 kids don't need a perfect parent. They just need one who cares. They just need one who cares.
That's literally what I was thinking this whole time. I think sometimes we overestimate what's needed, and a lot is needed, but sometimes it's just a safe place. It's just a room. It's just clean food and just a safe person. And even when Laterras was breaking down the different categories of help, I didn't know. I just thought straight adoption. So that was impactful to me. So yeah, it's the simple things that make us human and that connects us all. So.
I mean, he hit the nail on the head when he said that about the fact that just as somebody that cares and realize it doesn't matter. You don't have to have a big old mansion. That's what I love about the movie. They kept it so real to where they were struggling. Yeah. And I'm saying, like I said, I don't want to get the movie away, but the fact that you can do it at whatever level you're at, and God will provide the same that you depend on him to provide for you. You don't think the Bible says, I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging for bread. I didn't say that. That's what the word says. So you have to try God at his word. I'm telling you, I literally credit my success right now because of the fact in 2015, I made the decision to start fostering to adopt my nephew. And so even when it was time where it got a little hard, I said, God, this is your child. This is your child, your will, your bill. So I need you to open up the windows of heaven and pour out blessings I don't have room enough to receive. And God would just start showing me favor and start opening up doors. He'll put my name on somebody's mind that says, let me go ahead and book Laterras for this. Let me go ahead and have Laterras come shoot this content for our school or whatever. And I would just watch God just do what he does best. My nephew who I adopted is the one who did the live switching, that did the switching from the infamous video that went viral with Whitney. And he was able to be, I would say, the youngest person to earn a Telly Award. He got a Telly Award at the age of 14. Here's a kid that was in foster care, got a Telly Award at the age of 14, doing a video while I'm doing my purpose with the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Whitney goes super viral in the video. Video got 140 million views, but it was a kid that was in foster care that was the guy that was doing the technical stuff behind it. He got a chance to see that at a young age. So I'm just saying, man, just do your part. Do your part.
Yes.
140 million views, Whitney. Come on.
Yeah.
Yes. I watch that when I'm having a bad day. I just go and watch it because it's so funny. Oh my gosh. Classic.
Whitney got their braids now.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So
well,
good.
listen, this has been such an impactful discussion, so edifying and constructive and glorifying. I feel like I know we have another comment that we're going to throw up onto the screen when we see it from somebody who has purchased. By the way, Stephanie, who bought those 20 tickets, it's a whole sorority going. It's a whole sorority that's going.
Good.
So Angel, can you throw that comment back up on the screen if you could? So it doesn't appear, so we can read it. Angel Randall says, I got my ticket to see it on Wednesday. In 2 days, Juneteenth, we are fighting to get a baby boy back into our home forever and out of the many foster care attempts that he's been in.
Wow.
So somebody's going to see the film on Wednesday, and they are fighting to get a baby boy back into their home forever and get it.
And her name is Angel. And her name is Angel.
Angel.
Wow.
And her name
Prayers.
is Angel.
We prayers are going up for you. That situation it goes in your favor. Yes. In the name of Yeshua Amen. Jesus, we pray. Amen. Yes.
Amen. We touch and agree on that one.
Yes. So let's go around. If we could, let's just go around the circle And then we'll see the trailer one last time, see if anyone can beat Stephanie's record of 20 tickets. I still want to see that happen. Come on, somebody's got to beat that. Joe got 10. Joe, halfway there. Okay. Joe, you halfway there. Come on.
Double up.
Angel.com/KR. Let's just go around the circle and just one last final thought, whether it's about why people should consider going seeing this film, what they should have in their heart. Would love to just hear whatever's on your heart as it relates to this film and to these issues. Maybe we can go Destene, then Whitney, then Willie, Laterras, and Nika, and then we'll go watch the trailer, and then we'll end the live stream. But go ahead, Destene.
I'm just so proud, and my heart is just so filled to be a part of such a movement. I feel like this is the step to doing something. You know what I mean? Versus just complaining or looking at the situation and just not taking it a step further, So I'm just so grateful to be a part of it. And it was just an awesome movie. I really just want to encourage everybody to go see it, buy a ticket. It really, really moved me. It's one of the best films I've seen in a really long time, and I really mean that.
Thanks, Destene. Whitney?
So good. Yeah, I would just say go and have an open heart. Have a heart that's open and ready to view things from a different perspective. This film definitely gave me a different perspective on life. And I think with anything in life, you have to be intentional. So even getting out of yourself, your daily routine and thinking about others, and specifically children, takes intentionality. And this movie is all of that and more. And get your tissue, because you gonna be crying.
Yeah.
I would declare, I would decree and declare that but seriously, amazing film. Get your tickets. I'm gonna be there with the family. So
thank you, Whitney. Willie?
That's awesome. Number one, thank you guys for this amazing opportunity. Thank you for taking interest in something that's been so near and dear to me since the inception of my birth. To be quite honest, God knew before then that I would land in a beautiful home with some amazing parents. Thank you, Laterras, for always, opening up the doors for us to speak about adoption freely, and for the people who made the film. I just want to tell you how much I honor and appreciate you. Thank you for taking interest in something that I believe God has his hand on. Now it's the time. And so when you watch this film, I just want you to posture your heart to receive what God is telling you personally, because there's always something somebody can do. For some of you, you may say, hey, I want to give a person who adopted a child or fostering a child a break for a little while, and you'll do that. For some of you, you'll say, you know what, I just want to give money so children can give homes. For some of you, God will prick your heart and say, you know what, it's not over. You're a great mother. You're a great father. And I know you've done it 1 or 2 times, but I need you to do it this way now. And for many of you all, you'll be obedient. And just for that last little group of people who are going to watch this film, you'll say, man, it really touched my heart, but I don't really have the money to do that. Just understand that a small step is still a step. And if you make a cognizant decision to say, God, you prick my heart, I trust you, I'm going to take this step, I believe that God is going to do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ever ask or think. If I can be honest, my parents who adopted me, they never made more than $30,000, $40,000 a year. But I tell you what, I never missed a meal. I look just as cool as all the other children. And let's just say nowadays, they make a whole lot more because of the decision that they made. God blessed them in abundance. And I believe he'll do the same for you. So make sure you get your tickets. Make sure that you tell a friend and challenge your church sororities, your fraternities, and make sure everybody gets a ticket so they can see this beautiful story. Thank you for the opportunity to share.
Well, Willie, you so good. You so good. You can tell you work on radio.
I'm really thinking like, what am I going to say?
What? Yeah, I'm like,
every time he speaks, I'm just like.
That boy, so Willie do this for a living. Boy, he do this for a living. Let's be clear. He has an amazing radio show. Keep doing what you're doing. But listen, again, I would just love to just shout out Angel Studios for the fact of for the wherewithal, for the thought process to create this beautiful film. And like Willie said, we are always approached with becoming ambassadors or whatnot for projects or whatnot. And a lot of stuff I just don't do. I'll be honest with you. This is the first and only film that I've actually done this for because it connects with my purpose. It's a part of my legacy. And so I thank y'all for asking me. Well, first of all, I thank you, Nika, for actually making the post that you did. And I thank whoever tagged me in the post that brought it to my awareness, because I knew nothing about the film at that point. And then the minute that I started finding out about it, I got hooked. I couldn't let go. And I was like, what we doing? We got to do something with it. And so again, thank y'all for producing this film. And I'll leave y'all with this scripture. Isaiah 1:17 says, seek justice, help the oppressed, defend the cause of orphans, fight for the rights of widows. That's what the word says. If you're a Christian, God said it, not me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow. Ding. Yes. So Laterras, thank you for being obedient and saying yes. And also the power of social media, right? When we think about this thing right here in our hands, have so much reach. I want to make Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot, the box office. Not because I have a financial gain, but because this will show Hollywood and show the world that there is a faith-based presence that has legs. And we have to show the world really that this film is a movement to end the foster care crisis, but also to show that there are stories out there that don't involve murder and death and superheroes, that real stories that touch people's heart can be impactful as well as successful. So y'all gotta go and make this movie #1. So like Willie said, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Tell your enemy, tell your frenemies, tell them all. Buy your tickets at angel.com/KR, because when you buy a ticket, you're showing not that you just care, but you want to see this movie be #1 at the box office. Period.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you all for joining. Remember, angel.com/KR. Go get your tickets right there, and you're going to be helping out a wonderful foundation when you do. To Laterras, thank you, Laterras, for being so amazingly proactive. And look, we've even gotten some pups here in the stream as well, Willie. We love it.
Oh my God, so cute.
We're past time, so we're gonna go watch a little trailer. We'll finish this off with a trailer, but while we're watching this trailer, think about on your phone, go to that angel.com/KR. Go support this film. You know, Angel Studios has a very unique way of going about things. They don't just make movies that people don't just have money and say, I want to make a movie. They have a guild. They have a membership of over 300,000 people who their guild votes on films that they think will amplify light. And they vote on films for Angel Studios to be involved in that they think if this film were not made, the world would be a worse place.
Oh, that's good.
So the guild voted this film to be brought to light, to amplify this light. Over 300,000 people strong. And if you want information about that, you can go to angel.com/guild to learn how to be a part of the guild for Angel Studios. But that is what Angel Studios is doing, and that gives this film even more power behind it. So thank you for joining us. Destene, Whitney, Willie, Laterras, and Nika, thank you for joining us this evening. So much appreciate your heart and your love and your spirit. We're going to watch a trailer at the end here, everyone, and have a wonderful, wonderful night. Go grab them, angel.com/KR. We'll see you in the theaters.
It's hard to feel like I'm the only one who sees these things. 70% of the kids in the system are there because of neglect. The other 30% are put through hell. We need your help.
Can you imagine our kids on their own? We can't just look away. The state ain't no family.
Are you sure these people want us?
I know they do. You can call me Mama. Oh, Lord.
If we can't wrap our arms around the most vulnerable, then what do we have? Noise! And the children can't take the noise anymore.
This is something that we must do.
22 families want to adopt. Whole town wants kids now.
That's about right.
What's happening with Possum Trot could mean a huge change for the system.
We want the ones that nobody else won't.
Who hurt you, baby? I'm not giving up on you. You can't give up on me either. What we gonna do? Everybody's falling apart.
I'm doing the best I can.
The real world hits hard.
I don't want to be here. I can't give him back. We gotta work on this together. We your people now. And love never gives up.